Hey, everybody. It's John Halpin. I'm with Josh Katzowitz. Welcome to the Week 14 Friday edition of Pickwatch Live. We're going to make our picks. How you doing, man? So the Jags are bad. The Titans, I still don't know what to make of them, but we both had them last night.
Yeah, how about that? It's nice to get a win on Thursday night going into that weekend. At least you know a little. There have been so many times on Thursday nights where I'd missed a game, and you just put them in the night before, and you're like, well, I'm already down, and at least we can go into the weekend with a good feeling. The Jaguars aren't going into the weekend with a good feeling, but everybody else can.
Yeah.
Titans are still alive. Titans are 7-6. They still have a chance.
Titans still have a chance. Derrick Henry was the story. 239, 4 touchdowns. His 99-yard run, he was throwing people around like a ragdoll. He stiffed one guy twice. I know he got Bouye first. I forget who the other ones were. I think he got Ramsey there. He was just – it was awesome. They actually brought him in to try to get a 5th touchdown, and he tried to come off the field. He wanted Deion Lewis to get one. They brought him back in, and they went on 4th down, and Henry didn't get it. He would have had 5 touchdowns. It's so funny because I do fantasy stuff, and people basically had given up on Derrick Henry or he had ruined their seasons. I'm trying to find people who actually had him starting last night.
I mean, coming into the game, he had less than 500 yards in the season.
Right.
And he goes he almost doubles that in one, or just happens that much in one game. You know, it's like you look at his stats, his game by game, it's like 10 carries for 40 yards and 8 carries for 30 yards, and there's nothing on here that would indicate that he'd go off like that. I think the most he's had in this all season was 11 carries for 58 yards a couple weeks ago against the Patriots.
Right.
But again, you know, NFL is a weird place, and sometimes a guy who's like that is more of a goal line vulture kind of guy goes off for over 200 yards, and you're like, well, you know, I don't know. Who knows about this game?
Right. All right, folks. We're going to get on to the rest of the picks. Sorry, I got a little had some feedback coming in my ear. All right. So 65% of the experts had the Titans last night. So most people didn't lose a lot of ground. Overall, before this week starts, Ryan Fowler's tied for 6th against the spread among the experts. I'm tied for 14th. Josh 29th. We've got on Pickwatch. If you make your picks, we've got more than 1,700 people making their picks now. Team pages are there, which means you can see how you picked and how we picked different teams along the way over the last few years, depending on how long we've been doing it on Pickwatch. This show goes on YouTube later as a whole show. You're watching on Facebook, maybe. If you're watching on YouTube, like us on Facebook, vice versa. But we also break up the game clips on Friday. So when we talk later about, let's say, Falcons-Packers, you'll be able to watch that clip 3 or 4 minutes on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, this full show and the Tuesday full show, we have an audio podcast of it right now. If you have Spotify, you can subscribe and listen to it on Spotify. So you listen in your car, or if you take public transportation, or you just want to sit in your living room or sit at your computer and listen to us with your headphones, you can do that. All right. So we are going to get to the Week 14 schedule. By the way, I found something. Speaking of the team pages, to see how well we do with certain teams this year, for me, when I pick Bengals games, I'm 9-3. But when I pick Redskins and Titans, I'm 4-8. Now 5-8 Titans. You're 10-2 picking the Chiefs. Whether you pick for or against, when you're picking a game with the Chiefs, you're 10-2. On the other side, when you're picking a game with the Falcons in it, you're 2-10. Weird, right?
That's some extreme stuff right there.
Yeah, I don't know how statistically significant any of this is, but you know, it's food for thought when you're making your picks and and heeding our advice if you do that. All right, let's go Sunday. Ravens Chiefs first. Chiefs favored by 6.5, over under 53. Looks like Lamar Jackson again for the Ravens. They've been moving the ball on the ground. I mean, he's not perfect, but it's become a very run-centric offense, and it seems to be working. But now, see, here's the weird thing about this. If the spread was really big, if it was 10 or 11 or something, I would have thought a team like the Ravens that shortens the game, even against the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs can score in a split second. But when you shorten the game, you give the team less time to possess the ball, you would think it contracts everything, the margin of victory, the over-under, whatever. What do you make of this one? Can the Chiefs – the Ravens' defense is really good. The Chiefs have only scored less than 30 twice. Can they rack it up on the Ravens, or is it going to be a little different than usual for them?
I think they can rack it up on them. what's interesting, I think, is what happens with the Chiefs without Kareem Hunt. I mean, I wrote about this in the column, my weekly column, a couple of days ago that published on Wednesday. He was such an explosive part of that offense, and even though they went out and scored 40 points against the Raiders, and how many yards did they gain? They gained a ton of yards, both of which they gained 469 total yards, which the 40 points and the 469 yards was the fourth most of the season on both statistics. So, on the face of it, missing Kareem Hunt didn't seem to affect that game. But again, the Raiders are one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, or one of the worst defenses in the league in general. You have to wonder what happens without him. Spencer Ware is a guy who looks like he's going to get most of the carries, but statistically has never been that great. He had a good season a couple years ago, but missed all last year with a knee injury. Damian Williams, the backup, has played in the NFL for 5 years, and he's gained just 516 yards in 70 games. So he's not like he's not the savior that I don't know if anybody expects him to be the savior, but he's probably not going to be that savior. So I think losing Kareem Hunt makes that team a little more one-dimensional. Again, they're going to be able to score. It's not our problem, but missing a guy like Kareem Hunt, I think, could be the difference between a team that has a chance to win the Super Bowl and a team that is an early exit playoff loser. I think he makes that kind of difference.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
No, so in this game in particular, I know I'm going with the Chiefs, but because I think that plus 6.5 is a little too low. But if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm worried about the rest of the season, especially when they go into January.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on this week. I'm taking the Chiefs. Look, just because the Ravens defense is good doesn't mean that the Chiefs aren't way better than them as a team. So
what happens with the Ravens when they fall behind? When they fall behind by wins 20 points. But they've been behind a little bit with Lamar Jackson in there, but they have not been losing by more than a touchdown early in the game. So I think they were down 7-0 a couple weeks ago. Last week, I can't remember. They were down 7-0 at one point. Not a big deal. But when they're down 14-0 or 21-0, what is Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson isn't a great passer yet, so that really, then that's we're gonna see what happens when something like that happens. If the Chiefs have the ability to get off to that 21-0 start.
Right. Yeah. If he has to throw, bad for the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He's just not ready for that yet. Also, yeah, I'm not I'm higher on Spencer Ware than you are. Just because, last year, look, I think Hunt's better than him, yeah. But last year, if he hadn't gotten hurt in the preseason, he would have been the starting back instead of Hunt. That was the way they were leaning anyway. So, I'm a fan. And I know he didn't do that great last week, but I like him.
Yeah, he went 47 yards and 14 carries last week, which is, okay. But again, the Raiders are a terrible rush defense.
Yeah.
The lead rusher was Pat Mahomes, and that's not what you want either,
No. All right, so we're both taking the Chiefs. Right now on NFLPickwatch.com, 65% of the experts like the Chiefs giving the points. 69% of the fans like the Chiefs giving the points again. This just seems like a low spread to me at Arrowhead. That's all. Even though the Ravens are hot, I think it's weird. I think, again, because their defense is good doesn't mean they're that good as a team. That's all. So, all right. So Chiefs for both of us. Okay. Texans, Colts. Texans by 4.5, over under 49.5. Texans won 9 in a row. Lots of running. Deshaun Watson has been throwing the ball something like, 25 times a game. Last week was a little more, but they've basically run the ball, play defense, let Watson make a few plays, and it's all working. They're not beating any great teams in general over this streak. But the Colts, before they lost to Jacksonville, they got shut out at Jacksonville last week. Before that, they had won 5 in a row. Let me check the injuries real quick on this one. See if there's anything interesting that we missed yesterday. Ryan Kelly is still Ryan Kelly, there's Colts center, still hurting. We might not see him. No other big ones for either team. This looks to me like I like the Texans. I like the way they're playing. I don't think they're going to win 13 in a row to close out the season. And I always look for the losses to come somewhere. I don't know if they'll lose, but these teams I think are both pretty solid, and I think 4.5 is a little more than I want to give.
I mean, I'm going with the Colts to win the game outright, so I'm happy to see that point spread like it is. At some point, the Texans are going to lose. I just don't. It seems like I talk about this every week. I mean, that winning streak is really impressive, but who have they beaten in it? I mean, nobody's all that good. So there's still questions there to me. Houston started Houston beat Indy 37-34 in week 4, and that started they beat the Colts in week 4. That started that win streak. I kind of think Indy's going to end it here.
Okay.
I'm still not a believer in you.
I think they might too. And by the way, the schedule the rest of the way, after this, they're at the Jets, home for the Eagles, they're at the Jets, at the Eagles, and home for the Jaguars. Some more winnable games. But I agree with you. I mean, you got to think that probably a bump in the road somewhere.
I mean, I think they're a team that's going to get – I don't know. I think they're a team that's going to get blasted in the playoffs maybe in that first wild card weekend. Who they're going to end up playing, either the Chargers or the
Well, depending on how they play, they might get the 3rd seed, which would mean that they'd avoid the way things are shaking out now, they'd avoid the Chargers, and they might get someone like the Ravens. I'm not looking at the wild cards in front of me. They might get the Colts again. So it'll be someone like that, I think.
I don't know. Are you a believer in the Texans?
I mean, they're fine, but no, I'm not totally bought in. I mean, I like the way they play. I like the defense. I think last year it looked like they were putting a lot on Watson's shoulders, and maybe because they had to, and I didn't know if he was good enough to. Like, I like him. I don't love him like some people did last year. Like, he's going to be the superstar. I don't know if I believe that. I think he's pretty good. And I think the way they're playing now, it's a lot of defense. And Watson, the role for Watson is, make enough plays to help them win, not carry the load. And I think that's probably better for him. I think that's because he can. He's good enough to, hey, I might not help you guys score. He's not Aaron Rodgers where when things go well, they're going to score 35 points. But he's good enough to, with the formula they have, to make enough plays to help them win, even when they're trying to take the air out of the ball a little bit. So I'm a fan. I like them, but I mean, do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? Like, do I think they can go to New England? Maybe for some reason, I'm still not bought in on the Patriots again this year.
I guess right now, if it ends today, they play the Ravens in wild card weekend.
Okay. I mean, that's a good role for them. Now, if they go to Kansas City in the divisional round, depending on how things shake out, I don't know that I buy that they have the firepower to win that one.
No, or going to New England either in that divisional round.
That one maybe. I don't know. I like them enough. I don't know how. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? No, but I don't know if anyone does. So I might be as bought in as most people.
Yeah, but they could end up playing the Titans in that wild card weekend, depending on how things shake out. That Titans win yesterday helps Tennessee. Yep. They could, it could be the Broncos. I guess if it gets against the Ravens, if it gets against the Broncos, the Titans, I guess you go with Houston. If it's against the Ravens, I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I guess if the way they was scheduled, if they keep that number 3 seed, then that'd be really helpful to them.
Yep. All right. So we're both going Colts with points. I think I'm going Texans to win straight up, and you're not.
No.
As far as on NFLPickwatch.com, we have got 54% Texans to cover and 69% Texans from the fans to cover. So the fans are much more brought in on the Texans in this game. Falcons-Packers. Packers by 5, over under 49.5. This line started at 6, I think. The Packers, they lost their first game of the year at home. It was costly to Mike McCarthy last week. They lost to the Cardinals. Mike McCarthy got fired. Joe Philbin takes over. Packers, the only other thing, they put their corner, Kevin King, on injury reserve. That's big news for them, injury-wise. Julio Jones has, I think, an injured foot, but it sounds like he's going to play. The two things here, I mean, Packers, how do they respond? I mean, we don't know. That's the thing. I don't try to read minds or hearts or emotions or whatever. I tend to think they'll after last week and after being embarrassed at home last week, look, I don't think they're that good of a team, but I think they're good enough to go out and, have a pretty nice day against the Falcons. Plus, 24-degree weather was the last I saw. Dome teams tend to not do great and stuff like that.
Yeah, traditionally the Falcons are okay in Green Bay when they play up there. I did not look at the dates of those games, so I'm not sure if it was in September or in December, which obviously makes a huge difference. I like Green Bay straight up here. I like the Falcons against that plus 6.5 spread. Yeah, you're right. I think the main question is how the Green Bay Packers respond to McCarthy being fired and Philbin taking over. A lot of talk last week about Aaron Rodgers' body language during that loss against the Cardinals and how it was kind of flippant, or like he didn't seem like he was all in, which may have had to do with his relationship with McCarthy. I don't know. Is Philbin the savior? I don't think so. 24-28 in his career. He never had a winning season in Miami. He came into that job with a lot of with a good reputation as an offensive coordinator because he had done so well in Green Bay before he got the job with the Dolphins. And this year offensively, I think statistically they're still decent. Green Bay is.
Yep.
Let me look. I think they're eighth in total yards gained in the NFL, and they're 16th in points. So they're good to mediocre, I guess. So they've done okay statistically. But Philbin hasn't shown he can be a good head coach. He's shown he can be a good offensive coordinator. Again, it's just an interim role, so I don't think anybody's really expecting Philbin to be a real candidate for this job. He could maybe if they reel off 4 straight, but I don't know. I think what you said is probably right. Green Bay is not very good, but they're good enough to win this game, and they probably will. But I think it's going to be. Like you said, our record for picking Falcons games is horrendous, 2-10. So the fact that you're with me on this one is probably an indictment on you as opposed to my good pick. But I like the Falcons here just because for whatever reason I'm still a believer in the Falcons that they're not going to get destroyed in this game. I guess I don't know why, because it's not like they're a good team either.
See, I'm surprised that I'm not the one who's 2-10 picking the Falcons because I feel like I pick them every week and they always lose. Like, because I've been saying for a month, they're turning it around, they're going to do well, and every week they disappoint me. So it's not good. And the offense, even though the numbers look good, I think it's not good. They probably got a lot of them with Matt Ryan throwing to Julio when they're losing. And I don't know. Like, I don't like either one of these teams right now. And I think it'll probably be a close game. Like, I'd love to pick the Packers and say, hey, maybe they bounce back after, like, holy cow, the coach got fired. Maybe we need to play better, sort of light a fire under them. But I just don't think – I've been saying all along. I picked Cardinals to cover against them last week. I didn't pick them to win. But just because I looked at them and the Packers aren't that good. Yeah. And I think they're a below average team generally. So I'll take the Falcons with the points. I don't love it, but I got to pick someone, so I'm taking the Falcons.
Hey, let me ask you this. I don't want to get off too much of a tangent because it's taken us already like 25 minutes to pick 3 games. But the fact that McCarthy gets fired in the middle of the season, the Packers tradition, he won a Super Bowl for them. Disrespectful. I don't know if it's disrespectful or not to fire the guy in the middle of the season. I don't know. What are your thoughts on them getting rid of McCarthy in the middle of the season, or near the end of the season?
I think they knew that the vultures would be circling and that it was going to become a ridiculous situation if he stayed because everybody knew it was going to happen eventually. Yeah. And they kind of probably said, all right, let's just get it over with. I mean, I think that was actually probably good for him. Like they didn't let him hang around for a month with the whole world knowing he was going to get fired. Yeah. And I don't know if I've told you before, some of the other work I do, I work with some people in an office in Madison, Wisconsin, who are all Packer fans, and they detest Mike McCarthy. To a man, they can't stand him. They're like, I can't believe this guy's still our coach. But, they've been saying all year, like, it's incredible because you look from a distance, you go, that guy won a Super Bowl. And for 2 years, I've been talking to these guys. They're going, no. He's holding them back. I mean, you look at his record. He's 125 wins, 77 losses, 2 ties. Very good winning percentage for an NFL coach. Yeah, he's been not very good the last couple of years, but I mean, he's 10-6 in 2016, 10-6 in 2015, 12-4 in 2014. 11-5 in 2012, 15-1 in 2011. So it's like, I don't know. It's like when Philip Fulmer got fired in Tennessee after winning the national championship. I mean, it was a few years later, but
you're like, that guy's a good coach, and Tennessee's going to regret that move. And they have regretted that move. I don't think McCarthy, I don't know how good of a coach McCarthy really is, but he had a lot of good success there. And you just wonder, like, I don't think it really matters at this point whether he's fired in the middle of the season or not. I don't know if it's a disrespectful thing. We're not in the same place we were when Vince Lombardi was coaching.
Right.
I don't think that matters, but you have to wonder, like, people hate him. People hate Mike McCarthy. Well, we'll see what happens to the next coach and see what happens, how long that guy stays,
Yeah, everybody wants an offensive guru everywhere. Everybody wants Sean McVay. So let's see how that goes.
There's not very many Sean McVays out there.
There's not. All right. So on Pickwatch, we have got 60% of the experts had the Falcons getting the points. Some of them got 6. I think I got 6. And 53% of the fans have the Packers given the points. There's a little disagreement there. Jets, Bills. Bills favored by 3.5. Over under 38.5. Sam Darnold expected back for the Jets. We see if we've got any new injury news. Yeah, Isaiah Crowell, we're not sure his status yet for the Jets. Not a ton of injuries here, but yeah, Sam Darnold returning is probably the big news. I think in the short term, that tends to work against the Jets. I'm not a Sam Darnold hater, but in the short term, he's probably more likely to turn the ball over and things like that. The Bills have been fine. I mean, their record's not good, and their offense is generally not good. Josh Allen, he's fun to watch. I'll say that. He's been running the ball like crazy lately. I don't know that I want him throwing passes for me, but this is a game here that, I mean, the Jets have lost 6 straight, and last week that was just a bad loss to the Titans, that they finally were playing a decent game and they lost. I think the Bills' defense at home is going to be too much for the Jets to overcome. Like, the Bills' defense is strong. Their offense is no good, and maybe Allen makes them better over time. I don't know, but this to me, I am so happy to pick the Bills here. This is one of my favorite picks on the board.
Yeah, no, we agree there. I don't know if this is a great spot for Darnold to come back to, because the Bills are number 2 in the league in yards allowed. Like, you wouldn't think that, but they've, the last 4 weeks, in 3 of the last 4 games, they've allowed less than 200 yards total offense. That's pretty good. And Josh Allen is improving. I was looking at Pro Football Focus, and they were talking about how much Allen has improved. And let me just read this. Through the first 11 weeks of the season, he ranked 38th out of 44 quarterbacks who saw at least 100 offensive snaps with the Pro Football Focus grade. So that, they basically, it was considered basically below average. 38 out of 44 quarterbacks. And over the last 2 weeks, though, there have been 33 quarterbacks who have been in the field for at least 50 offensive snaps. And Allen is the best of all of them, according to this PFF grade. So take that kind of analytical stuff for what it's worth. But according to Pro Football Focus, who is very well respected in the business and who just about every NFL team uses for analytics, says that in the last couple of weeks, Allen has been one of the best quarterbacks out there. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. And
all the yards are coming on the ground. He ran for 99 one week and 134 the other. Yeah. I mean, he's ridiculously athletic. Mm-hmm. I mean, the book on him coming out was that tons of talent, huge arm, basically wasn't going to be accurate and might never be. And right now, that's the way. I mean, the might never be part, I don't think we don't know. But right now, he's not accurate. He's not throwing the ball that great. He makes plays with his feet, though. Like, he keeps it alive, and he's one of those guys who he can scramble and then kind of fling the ball, go in any direction because his arm's so strong. He made a great play. I think he had a touchdown to Zay Jones last week. So, I mean, the talent, the physical talent is absolutely there, and the running is it's fascinating because we've been talking for a few weeks about Lamar Jackson running, and that's significant. Josh Allen can run, man. He really can, and it adds. It's a level of, it's something you can't really defend because the guy it's not a design play. It's like, oh, the rush is here, plays are breaking down. And he probably tucks and runs too quickly, but he takes off and the guy can run for a 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah, and he's averaging 6.8 yards carry. He's one of those guys like Mitch Trubisky is one of those guys. Cam Newton's one of those guys that really can do some good things with their feet, and that really makes them very effective. Yeah, makes them hard to stop.
I'm enjoying him more than I thought I would at the beginning of the season. But yeah, we're both taking. I mean, this seems like an easy one with 3.5. So, all right. So we're both taking the Bills right now. 82% of the experts are on the Bills on Pickwatch. 77% of the fans. So everybody likes the Bills. I mean, how I talk every week about hey, make a contrarian pick. This is not the contrarian pick for me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see the Jets winning.
Bills are not in last place in in that division anymore.
No. Okay, Giants Skins. This line started before we knew the quarterback situation. Started Redskins 1.5. Now it's Giants by 3.5 at Washington. Over under 41. Big news here. Mark Sanchez starts because of Colt McCoy's injury. Mark Sanchez starts for the Redskins. My favorite quote from Jay Gruden. Someone asked him on, I think, Wednesday, what are Mark Sanchez's strengths as a quarterback? And he was like, I don't know. I met the guy like 10 days ago.
Yeah, that's about all you need to say.
Right.
He did have, Mark Sanchez did have a funny moment. I don't know if you saw it, but someone was asking him about the butt fumble, and he just had this great response, and he's like, who cares? I mean,
right.
Mark Sanchez's life is gravy for that guy,
Yep.
Good for him for getting back to this point. I mean, the last time he won a game as a starter was 2014. It's been 4 years since he won a game when he started the game.
Right.
I don't think that's great for the Redskins, but it's just, as much crap as Mark Sanchez has taken throughout his career, man, the fact he's kind of clawed himself back to this point, that's pretty impressive. No matter how he does against the Giants, that's a pretty good story.
Giants lost Landon Collins for the season. They're playing well. They're 4-1-1 against spread in their last 6. They are, they won. They beat the Bears last week. I know it was Chase Daniel, but the Giants, they have taken the way things started and they've turned it around a little. I mean, I don't think they're good. Like that game against the Eagles a couple weeks ago, they played a good game at Philly, but they blew a 19-3 lead. Like they're still a flawed team, certainly, but they're not terrible. They're not as terrible as their 4-8 record suggests. They're kind of maybe slightly below average. The Redskins right now, Sanchez starting. The defense is struggling. All year we've been talking about their defense is holding it in. When they were 5-2, it looked good. They're starting to leak on defense. They lost one of their corners, Dunbar, to his reserve. At the offense right now, I mean, there's not a lot of there's no one who scares you other than Peterson. The receivers aren't that good. Sanchez is quarterbacking. I think the Redskins are kind of falling apart. I'm going to take the Giants, even though it's 3.5 gave me pause. The Giants favored, but I'm going to take them to win and cover.
Yeah, no, I mean, home underdog is never a great place to be picking the other team, to be picking the favorite. I don't feel like. I mean, I think that I've learned that from you this year. It's like home underdogs can be dangerous in this situation. Though, I agree. I mean, I don't think the Giants are a great team, and you kind of wonder if they would kind of continue on that path of what at one point they were 1-7. They get a good early pick, 2019. Maybe figure out what they want to do about Eli Manning. So it's great they're playing better, but for the long-term health of the franchise, you wonder maybe they would have been better going 2-14 this year.
Absolutely.
That's what it is, and the Redskins are falling apart, and they're who's talking about them in a couple weeks ago they were the king of the NFC East, and now who's talking about them winning that division? Nobody is, because it's a death spiral.
It's like it's Cowboys world now. Go figure. But
this is what happens when Alex Smith gets hurt. I mean, I'm kind of serious. They were a decent team with him in charge, and they lose him, and all of a sudden everything goes to hell. It's really weird. His stats are terrible, and they weren't terrible. They weren't great, but just as a game manager, as a leader on offense, they really miss him.
They do now, especially now that how they've downgraded. And I don't beat up on Sanchez, but the guy was on the street a week and a half ago. All right, so we're both picking the Giants right now on NFL Pickwatch. On the experts, 88% of the experts have the Giants given 3.5 points. 75% of the fans have the Giants given 3.5 points. So there's another one. Very broad agreement there. Saints Bucks. Saints by 8 at Tampa. Over under 55.5. These teams played in week 1. The Bucks beat the Saints at New Orleans 48-40. It was a fun game. That was in the beginning of the season when we were all looking at the Saints going, wow, their defense wasn't good last year. It was a fluke. Well, it turns out they straightened themselves out. Bucks are 4-2 at home now. They won 2 straight over the 49ers and the Panthers. They can certainly score. Their defense is not very good. Interesting thing here. So the Saints looked like they were going to steamroll everybody. Then they ran into week ago yesterday. They lost at Dallas, which kind of showed they're mortal. But I mean, I don't think that game was an indictment of the Saints. It was all right. They lost on the road to a pretty solid team. The one issue in this game, rain, morning thunderstorms, possibly more in the afternoon. It could, if there's slop, like thunderstorms and some wind, the wind is probably, I saw 13 miles an hour. It's hard to predict now. It's 3 days ahead, 2 days ahead. But if it's sloppy, I tend to think that can favor offense sometimes, but I wonder if it makes the game closer. Like it doesn't. I think that sort of levels the playing field sometimes if it's bad.
Yeah, I suppose it's I love the fact that we're talking about weather conditions and then how you should manage your financial portfolio based on that. And so this whole industry we're in, John, is so random. Like what we talk about for how you should bet a game. Anyway, regardless of that, the other thing with last week against the Cowboys, I mean, it's a curse of the Thursday night road team. I mean, that's just what happens sometimes. You go on the road on a Thursday night after you beat one of your biggest rivals the week before in the Falcons. That happens. Saints are still a team who can put up 40 points, put up 50 points against just about anybody. What's funny is the Buccaneers' offense has been great the last couple weeks, but the defense has been pretty good. So it's kind of a weird trend with that team where the roles are reversed a little bit. But traditionally, the Buccaneers are not very good at home against the Saints. Saints usually come in and roll pretty easily. And that 48-40 game earlier this year, that doesn't seem like a lifetime ago. Like I barely even remember that game was this year.
Right.
But the Saints defense now is basically average, which is good enough to win this game. The last 4 weeks they've averaged they've averaged giving up 289 yards a game, and 13 points given up. So all of a sudden the last month or so that Saints defense has been pretty good. I don't think they're gonna have any issues here. I think they're gonna roll. Okay.
I think the Bucs are gonna keep it close. I think they're gonna make it respectable. I actually like the way Jameis is playing right now. So I mean, I could see that. Look, if we were to talk next week and, this turned out to be a 45-20 Saints win, you're not going to shock me. But I think the Bucs are going to keep it close. So we've got on Pickwatch, let's see, 66% of the experts are taking the Saints and giving the points. 70% of the fans taking the Saints, giving the points. I'm on an island. That's fine. Pats Dolphins. Pats by 7.5 at Miami. Over-under is 47. The Pats beat these guys at Foxborough 38-7 in week 4. The injury news, biggest one, Xavier Howard, the Miami corner, was week to week. Didn't see his Thursday practice thing while you're chatting. I will look that up. Dolphins, all year you look at them and you go, they're not good, but they're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 at home. I mean, they've been okay. By the way, over/under 47. 5 of the last 7 for the Pats have gone under. 4 of the last 6 for the Dolphins have gone under. But this one to me, it's the Dolphins play the Pats okay at home. Like 7.5 seems a little much for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Dolphins have won 4 of their last 5 games against New England at home. That's pretty stunning. Like that seems hard to believe. Maybe I should double check that because I'm not sure I even believe that. But that's what I saw. Now I don't think they're going to beat the Patriots this week, but I think it kind of that trend shows you that New England does not play well in Miami for whatever reason, and the Dolphins can keep it close. And really, that's the only reason I'm picking the Dolphins and to get insert it up here or against the spread, just because of that history. There's no, the Dolphins I don't think are pretty bad, and last week the offense was pretty bad. I don't know. I don't like Miami at all, but in this situation, in this specific game, this specific team, I think they'll keep it close.
Yep. I mean, the last 2 weeks since Tannehill's been back, they played a close game against Colts. They lost by a field goal on the road. They beat the Bills at home. I know that was a close game too. Like I don't look at the Dolphins as a team who's going to get blown out right now. By the way, Xavier Howard's probably going to miss this game, which isn't good against a team like the Patriots. But yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins with the points. That's
all of a sudden the Patriots have become like the best team in the AFC, like with the Kareem Hunt situation.
Right.
You pick them against those 4 potential winners of the divisions: the Steelers and the Steelers and the Patriots, and I just lost my train. Houston and with the Chargers. The Patriots are just as good or better than any of them. So that's kind of they quietly kind of snuck into that spot of maybe being the Super Bowl contender in the AFC. Well, they're definitely a Super Bowl contender, but maybe they're the best team in the AFC right now.
Every year you expect them to fade, and it doesn't happen. All right, so this game, 52% of the experts are taking the points with the Dolphins. 56% of the fans like the Pats giving the points, so slight disagreement there. Next up, Panthers-Browns. Oh boy, Panthers. It's ugly down here in Charlotte.
How's things in Charlotte, man? Things can't be good.
People like, hey, Cam Newton's terrible. fire the coach. It's just, usual stuff after a 4-game losing streak.
You think Rivera's going to get fired?
It depends on how they finish. I mean,
Yeah,
if they lose their last 4 or 3 of their last 4, might happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I like it. I actually think the offense turned around this year. The defense has just been bad. And I don't know if it's a coordinator thing or a talent thing. I tend to think it's more of a talent thing. I mean, they replace their coordinators every year because their coordinators get new jobs. But this is the 3rd year in a row with a 3rd different guy. But, the line's getting older. I think it's a talent thing. I mean, they have a couple of great linebackers, and they've got a great tackle in the middle. Other than that, I mean, they don't get any pressure on the passer, which is bad. So I don't know. This is also Cam Newton's shoulder is pretty clearly an issue now. I mean, the spotlight came on it last week when they took him out again for a Hail Mary, which is kind of weird when you have a Pro Bowl quarterback that you got to take out for a Hail Mary. But he's had shoulder issues, but they talked about it more this week. And it sounded, when you ask him, the media asked him Wednesday, hey, you're going to have surgery after the season. He's kind of like, well, I can't really say. And you ask the coach, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to shut him down? The coach goes, well, we're not there yet. Like, okay, I'm not quoting him exactly. But it was kind of like, if they lose 2 more games, I think they're going to sit him down. Like, so it's an issue. And how much of an issue? I mean, he's had a good season. The deep ball has not been part of the game very much. But there's an issue there. And it's something to worry about. And this team, look, I don't think they're the type. I don't know. They haven't been the type to roll over under this coach. I mean, a few years ago, they were 3-8-1 and they made the playoffs. So I think they're going to play for him. But I think the Browns are good. Like, I don't think they're better than the Browns in this spot. And they're going on the road. So this is a tough one for them.
You say that. And, like a month ago, I said that the Panthers were – I think I said they were the 3rd or 4th best team in the NFC. And that was a month ago. And that was before they played the Steelers and got shellacked there in that Thursday night game. And now a month later, we're saying that the Browns maybe have more talent or maybe better than them. So it really shows you like how quickly this league turns around. It's hard to disagree with anything you said. I think the Browns, they allow a lot of points and a lot of yards defensively, but they're also 4th in the league with a +10 turnover differential.
Right.
And that obviously is a good thing for them. I see you're picking the Browns. I'm going with the Panthers. Oh, you know what? I was thinking last night. This is a game I want to pick. I want to change. I think just looking at this rundown that you send me every week, I can't really find a reason to pick the Panthers to win this game or to cover that spread.
Yeah.
I determined last night at about 11 o'clock. I was like, when we're doing this live, I'm going to change my pick.
All right.
Because I don't like it.
The Panthers, they're good enough to where they can turn things around. And I don't want to get into the recency bias thing. Well, they've lost the last 2 weeks, so they're going to keep losing. I mean, could they turn it around? Sure. I'm just finding it hard to find reasons why. Like, I don't think this is an obvious Browns win, but I'm looking at the Panthers. I go, well, just because they were 6-2 doesn't mean they're better than the Browns. They're comparable. And and that's not a knock on the Panthers as much as I kind of like the Browns. So since Baker started playing, they've been pretty good. Or at least average, which for the Browns is really good. So I like them in this one. Again, I wouldn't go out of my way to bet this game, but you're going to ask me to pick one. I'm going to pick the Browns.
I'm as we speak, 7:45 a.m., 7:46 a.m. on Friday morning Eastern time.
Yep.
I'm officially going with the Browns. So.
All right. So right now on Pickwatch, we've got 60% of the experts going with the Browns. A little more than that now when Josh changes his, and 56% of the fans going with the Browns. So there you go. All right. Next up, we got to get moving. We've been slack. We're a little slow here today, but that's okay. It's been fun.
We're just chatting, man. We're just talking about the game, talking about the NFL. We do love the games.
Broncos -4. Started out at 5.5. Now it's 4. Over under 43.5. It's at San Francisco. Big news for the Broncos. Emmanuel Sanders tore his Achilles out for the season. But it's too bad because the Broncos have been on a nice little roll. They've won 3 straight. They're 6-1 against spread in their last 7. The Niners have lost 3 straight. The last 2 have been bad losses. Like they've been getting thumped. They got thumped at Tampa. And the week before that, I think it was a home loss. I don't know who off the top of my head. I'll look it up in a second. It's so easy to look at the way these teams have been playing lately and pick the Broncos. I'm wavering on this one. We both have the Broncos here, but I'm wavering because I don't know if the Broncos are as good as they look right now, especially losing Sanders because it changed the game. Philip Lindsay has been awesome.
Yeah.
And their defense has been pretty good. And Case Keenum's been fine. I don't know here that the Broncos are going to go in and cover by more than a field goal on the road. I don't know if that's asking a lot. My initial pick is Broncos. I'm starting to, get cold feet about it.
I don't have an issue at all with picking the Broncos here. I think the Sanders loss is pretty brutal for them. He's been targeted 98 times this year, which is more than 40 times more than the second most, which I think is Cortland Sutton. So that's an issue, obviously. Maybe Demaryius Thomas can find some of his old magic and then help Case Keenum there. But
Demaryius Thomas gone, remember? Right.
What's that?
Demaryius Thomas?
What?
Gone to Houston.
No, yeah, I forgot about that. So I guess Demaryius Thomas is not going to find that magic in Denver. I forgot about that. Anyway, regardless, it's a bad loss for Denver with the receivers. But San Francisco's so bad, and I don't see how they're going to stick around with Denver. Denver hasn't played well. Denver's still competing for a playoff spot. They have a chance to get in the playoffs, and I just don't see them losing to the 49ers. I think this is going to be pretty not an easy win for them, but a win where they win by 10 points, by 14 points, something like that.
All right. Like I said, I'm starting to waver. Sunday morning, watch on Facebook, 11:45 a.m. Eastern. I might change this one. Right now, I'm on the Broncos. So is Josh. We have got here 79% of the experts going with the Broncos giving the points. 83% of the fans going with the Broncos giving the points. I think this might be your contrarian spot. I think I might change this pick. That information alone, not alone, but might factor into my equation. Bengals, Chargers. Chargers favored by 14, over under 48.5. Bengals, I've used the term death spiral. Bengals are in one. It's bad. Jeff Driscoll starting the quarterback. AJ Green out for the season. Defense has been horrendous. There's nothing to like about the Bengals, especially going on the road. Chargers had that big win at Pittsburgh Sunday night. They won 8 out of 9. They're probably not going to have Melvin Gordon again. I don't know that it matters. 14 is a lot of points, but the Bengals are – I think the Bengals warrant this spread, and I'm going to take the Chargers.
Yeah, no, I mean, Marvin Lewis has got to be on his way out. The Bengals are playing their backup quarterback. They lost AJ Green, the most explosive offensive weapon for the season. There's nothing good about the Bengals right now. And the Chargers win in Pittsburgh, I think was a really big win for them. I mean, that really showed something.
Yep.
That they can go on the road against a first place team and perform well and get it and grab a win in a place that's not an easy place to play on, especially on a Sunday night. I like the Chargers here. You got to look at the Chargers and say they're one of the best teams in the AFC. Philip Rivers had a great year. This is a chance for the Chargers to maybe get him that Super Bowl title he's deserved for a long time. At least I think he's deserved it. 14's a lot. You're right, but man, the Bengals have been bad and the Chargers have been good. And I don't really have an issue going with the Chargers here.
Okay. I'm with you. I think the Chargers defense is good. Derwin James has been playing really good, and they were good before that. Now they've got Bosa back. They're strong. I know they give up 30 to the Steelers, but they're strong. Okay. We've got 72% of the experts taking the Chargers, giving the points. 75% of the fans like the Chargers, giving the points. Next up, Eagles, Cowboys. At Dallas, Cowboys favored by 3.5. Over-under is 43. Cowboys 4 in a row. They started their winning streak. It looked like Jason Garrett was a dead man walking. And they started their winning streak at Philly. I think it was a Sunday night. And they've been rolling ever since. Beating the Saints was, I think there were 3 in a row there that people were kind of like, I'm not sure about the Cowboys here. And that win against the Saints is huge. However, okay, so I overuse that desperate team phrase. I'm not giving the Eagles credit. I'm not saying the Eagles are good just because they won the Super Bowl last year, but there's talent there. They're 6-6. If they lose this, they're done, right? They're 2 games behind the Cowboys plus the tiebreaker with 3 to play. Their season is completely on the line in this game. Does that factor into you when making that pick?
Yeah, I don't know if that factors into it. I do know the Eagles have had 2 good wins in the last 2 weeks, beating divisional rivals. You know, I think they're coming off one of their best offensive performances last week against the Redskins. So, desperate team, okay. I think that speaks more to that. I still don't believe in the Cowboys quite as much as maybe other people do. Let me see who I picked. I guess I picked the Eagles straight up here too. No, I didn't. I picked the Cowboys straight up and the Eagles at +4. So, again, walking that kind of a fine line there. I don't know. The Cowboys have played a lot better with Amari Cooper in the lineup, but I don't think they're world beater. And I think that Saints game again was a little bit of an anomaly because of again the Thursday night road game and all that kind of stuff. I had a hard time with this game. It's a tough game for me to call.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I don't really have a good feel for this game, to be honest with you.
I am very close. The extra half point is making me think. My initial pick was the Cowboys. Right now, the Eagles are getting a little healthier on defense. I don't know. This is hard. I mean, the Cowboys still not getting Sean Lee back, still not getting David Irving back. I mean, Tyron Smith probably will play, but he's hurting. My pick right now, this is another one. Right now, I have the Eagles, sorry, and you have the Eagles, but I'm kind of on the fence. I probably won't change this, but it's not a game I love to pick. It's like one I've said about a couple of the other ones. I don't love this one, but I'm going to take the Eagles. So, all right. So we've got on NFLPickwatch.com, 56% of the experts like the Cowboys giving the points, 62% of fans like the Cowboys giving the points. All right, Lions Cardinals at Arizona. Lions favored by 3. So the Lions have lost 5 out of 6. They got lucky against the Panthers because Cam overthrew someone on a 2-point conversion. Now, I know they played a bunch of good teams. How in the world? I know the Cardinals are bad. I asked Ryan this on Tuesday. The Lions shouldn't be favored by 3 on the road against anybody.
I'm looking at the last place teams. If there's anybody that they should be favored by 3 against, they could be favored. Maybe Jacksonville?
Raiders?
I don't know. No, I mean, I don't think the Cardinals should be favored in this game. Yeah.
Maybe pick them. I don't know. This just looks. I don't understand. Like the Lions are not good. Again, I know they lost some good teams. I get it, but nah. This
they're 1-4 on the road. The Cardinals are 1-5 at home. So both teams suck. I mean, I don't know. Both teams suck.
They do.
I'm going with the Lions. I think the Lions suck less. So I'm going with the Lions. I think the situation in this game where these guys are in their season, that's about all you need to say for me. Anyway.
This is my second favorite pick on the board behind the Bills. I'm taking the Cardinals. Yeah. Man, I don't like the Lions. Like the logic of the line. Maybe it's the logic of the line rather than the team. And it's hard to say. I know I fall into the trap sometimes. We all do. You look at the numbers here. You say it doesn't make sense that the Lions are a favorite, but then if it turns out that the Lions win 20-17, you look at it and you go, oh, right, the Cardinals are terrible. I left that part out of the equation when I figured it out. You're not doing it, but I'm doing it right now. I don't know. It's ridiculous to me that the Lions are favored. That's all.
I think you're taking umbrage at something that is
I'm
not.
offended.
It seems like you're offended. I don't know how you could pick the Cardinals a favorite in this game. It would make you better if the Lions are -1. I mean,
the Lions are no good.
I think the Cardinals are worse.
All right, maybe. All right, we've got here 59% of the experts like the Lions giving the points, 57% of the fans like the Lions giving the points. People disagree with me. Fine. Steelers Raiders. Steelers favored by 10.5 on the road, over under 51.5. Steelers 2 losses in a row. They've been rolling. 2 losses in a row. They are 4-1-1 against 4-1-1 on the road. James Conner's out. So they're going to mix and match at running back, Jalen Samuels, Stephen Ridley, whatever. The Raiders are coming off a solid outing against the Chiefs. It was a loss, but it wasn't a bad one. They showed some fight against maybe the best team in the conference, second best, whatever you want to call them. I still think the Raiders are bad. I mean, it's kind of like the Saints. Remember we talked about the Saints and the Cowboys last week, and one of the things I said before the game was, look, you can't win by 2 touchdowns every week, or you have 3 touchdowns. Like, you're not going to kill everyone over the course of the season if you're a good team. It's the same for a bad team. You're not going to lose every game by 20 points. Even against good teams, you're not going to lose. You know, at home, you know, you come up with a decent effort sometimes. I still think the Raiders are bad. I think the Steelers are probably kind of, after losing 2 in a row, I think they might come out with some fight here. I think Steelers are going to cover.
Yeah, I don't have an issue picking this game with Pittsburgh. You know, you do have to wonder about James Conner and how they respond to that. Like I said, the Raiders have one of the worst rush defenses in the league, so I don't think it's going to matter too much here. And besides, even before Conner was out, it's not like the Steelers were. You know, the Steelers are one of the least running teams in the league with Big Ben. You know, they put so much emphasis on him. Conner's had a great season, but just because you got to give Ben a little bit more of the burden, I don't think it's that big of a thing. At least in this game,
Right.
I don't have an issue. I think the Steelers roll. You know, they've had a rough couple weeks, but I think the Raiders will make them feel a lot better.
All right. So you and I both have the Steelers. 55% of the experts on Pickwatch have the Steelers giving the points. 52% of the fans. It's more Raider support than I expected. Let's put it that way. Okay. Rams Bears Sunday night. Rams favored by 3 at Chicago. Over under 52.5. Trubisky's supposed to be back for the Bears. So at home, the Bears are 5-1 both straight up against us and against the spread. The only loss was that loss to the Patriots, which was 38-31. The Rams have not been covering a lot of spreads lately, and they got a late cover at Detroit. Thing is, in this game, it probably with the way the spread is close, it probably doesn't matter. It's a little different thing. It's more of a whether they'll win or not. This is probably not going to shock you that I'm going to pick the Bears, because I feel like I always pick the Bears.
Yeah, I went with the Rams. You know, this is my fun game of the week in my column. I forgot to mention what else I was. We can talk about the games because I'll be for next. And the Bet Your Life Savings game was Bengals to Chargers when I have the Chargers at -14. So this game, though, is fun game of the week. I'm interested to see, you know, the Bears have positioned themselves into a pretty much a top-notch NFC team. And even without Trubisky in the lineup for the last couple of weeks, they go 1-1 and kind of tread water, which is what you want out of Chase Daniel. And now, assuming Trubisky can play, that he will play, I think it's going to be a good opportunity to see if Chicago can be not just one of those teams that's pretty good in the NFC, but a team that is one of the is really good. I don't think it's going to happen this week. I like the Rams here, but it's going to be fun to see what Trubisky can do against that defense. And it'll be interesting to see if Chicago can kind of pass muster as one of the better teams in the NFC.
All right. Another interesting thing in this game, last week Aqib Talib returned for the Rams. He was kind of on a snap count. He think he played 30 snaps or something. He should be ready to roll fully this week, which helps against the Bears. I like the Bears. I like the Bears. As good as their defense is, I kind of like the offense. I kind of like the way the coaches set up there's another coach I really like. Both coaches in this game I really like. So I like the Bears to win this one. I think at home, you know, as much as I like the Rams, this is a close one. It could go either way, and I usually grab the home team. Plus, I've been a big Bears fan all year, so I'm going to go with them. We've got here on Pickwatch, 65% of the experts are going with the Rams, giving the points. 72% of the fans going with the Rams, giving the points. How many people are picking the Bears straight up? Can you show me that? Or can you tell me that? I can look it up. Bears straight up. We've got, come on now. Yeah, page is not loading right now. So, expert straight up picks. Here we go. Come on. We've got 79% of the experts taking the Rams straight up. So sounds about right to me. Okay. But contrarian pick for you. Yep. We'll see if I'm right. Vikings Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 3 at home, over under 45. Vikings have lost 3 out of 5. I joked with Fowler the other day that I feel like the Vikings play a great team every week. Like every week you go, oh, they're at New England. They don't get any easy games. So, maybe it's because I like the Vikings. I don't make any excuses for them. But Seahawks, they lost to the Chargers and Rams, and only after that they won 3 straight. I don't know. I'm wavering. This spread started out a little higher. I actually had the Vikings when it was 3.5. Now I don't know. Like, this is another one. If the Vikings lose this, they're not dead at all. Like, they're still okay on a playoff spot, especially if the Panthers lose. But the Vikings kind of need this one more than the Seahawks do. But it's tough. I'm so on the fence this game more than most of the games this week.
Yeah, no. Again, this is in my weekly column. This game kind of scares the crap out of me.
Yeah,
I don't really know. Yeah, the Vikings are just one of those teams that are just kind of puttering along, winning a game or two here and losing a few there. And Seahawks have certainly been playing better lately, the 3-game winning streak. But look at the roster. I think Minnesota just has more talent on offense. And that will get you places, I guess. But in this game, playing at Seattle is such a tough thing to do. That home field advantage is for real. And I don't, I kind of like the Vikings, but I kind of don't, just in general. But I'm going with Seattle here because that home field advantage, it's basically, you factor in the point spread, it's basically a pick-em game. I don't know. Seattle's just played a little better lately, and I just kind of like them a little bit more. But again, both teams are playoff caliber teams, I think. But it's a tough game to pick, but it should be fun to watch. Oh, real quick, I was just looking at this against expert picks for for straight up, and in the Steelers Raiders game, 99% of people are picking the Steelers to win straight up.
Wow. All right, yeah, this game at 3 points, I'm not sure. Like this looks to me like a field goal game. So. I don't know. I like the way the Seahawks have been playing. It's hard not to like the Seahawks at home. They did lose a couple of the good teams. I don't know. This is one of those games that Sunday morning I could change my mind. Right now I'm taking the Vikings. I got them at 3.5. If it's 3, I'm thinking a little harder about it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that half point. I think at that half point makes a big difference.
Yep,
for sure. And if it was 2.5, if it was Seahawks minus 2.5, it would be like, wow, maybe I would just go with the Vikings.
Right. That's how close this one is. I agree. All right. So right now we've got 69% of the experts taking the Seahawks and giving the points. And we've got 77% of the fans taking the Seahawks, giving the points. That's a lot of love against the Vikings. A lot of hate. Not hate, you know what I mean? That was a hard one. All right, so right now, so you and I got the Vikings right now. The most popular against the spread picks for the experts, 88% Giants, 82% Bills, 79% Broncos. Again, for me, not so much for you. If I was going to try to go against the grain, it might be the 49ers. The most popular fans against spread, 83% Broncos, 77% Bills and Seahawks. So,
man, Bills are getting a lot of love this week, man, for a team that's not very good.
They really are. It's funny. When they played a few weeks ago, the Jets were home. And if I have to look back, actually, I'm going to look back. Hold on one second. I'm going to see how many people were on the Jets at home against the Bills when everybody thought the Bills were bad. What week did they play? Nah, I don't have it here. The Bills plus 8.5. Hold on one second. Sorry, I know everybody likes watching when someone types and looks on the internet. It's a lot of fun.
One guy's typing research and the other guy's looking at this one. I'm like,
but I got to look this up because I'm curious to see what the Jets-Bills situation was last time they played. So they
last played in week 11.
They played in week 10. And we have here, in week 10, they were getting 7.5 from the Jets. Yeah, I don't have if I can go back to the week, I can, because Pickwatch lets you sort in all sorts of different ways, everybody. We're going to find this, right? We're going to find filters. We're going to go to week. I'm not going to do a screen share right now because I don't want to slow us down too much there, but I'm looking at week 10. And we had Jets were favored by 7.5, and it was a toss-up against the spread among the experts. But Jets are favored by 7.5. Look where we were. 7.5. The point, even though it's a different home team, the point spread has swung by 11. Because everyone, it looked like, oh, the Jets are going to win this game. I mean, maybe they won't cover. 7.5 made us think, but the Jets are going to win, and the Bills blew them out. And now everybody's convinced that the Bills are going to blow out the Jets. So are we, but it's just interesting how quickly that changes. So, all right. Everybody, you got anything else going on, Josh? Anything else you want to share with everybody?
Can I just tell you, last week was the heavyweight fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury.
Yep.
Good
Draw,
fight.
right?
It was a draw. Wilder put him down hard in the 12th round. Fury somehow got it up, finished the fight, draw. And the experts say there's about 300,000 people probably bought that fight in Showtime, 320,000, which is a pretty good number for that fight. 10 million people illegally streamed it. So, hey, I mean, do what you got to do, I guess, but that's a real problem. When you
It
get
is a real
that
problem.
many people illegally streaming it, I don't know, just something to think about for no reason, for nothing to do with NFL, but man, people like to illegally stream stuff.
It sounds fun, but it's stealing.
It's piracy, it's like Napster. I don't know if Napster was a Napster thing for me when I was in college, and it was like a kind of a moral dilemma. Like you're gonna take this song when it's not really yours to take. It's the same thing. But it's a reckoning that's gonna have to. Sports leagues are gonna have to figure out how to stop it from happening. And it's right now with 10 million people doing it across the globe. It's gonna be really hard to stop.
It is hard to stop. All right, folks, find us on Twitter. He is at Josh Katzowitz. I'm at Halpin37. The main account here is at Pickwatch. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, like us on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, please subscribe to YouTube. The game discussion, the individual game discussion will be there as well as the full episodes. And subscribe to our audio or podcast version of this show on Spotify now, iTunes coming soon. That's it for today's edition of Pickwatch Live. Remember, I'll be here Sunday. I'll be on Facebook Live Sunday, 11:45 a.m. Eastern, talking about the inactives, how it affects the lines, making some final maybe changes, picks, whatever it might be. That's it for Josh Katzowitz. I'm John Halpin. Thanks for watching Pickwatch Live.